Yes, this is legacy, Remonasticisin creative copyrights of artists, unnominated, as we all know. I'm not really live streaming, which is somewhat complicated for now, but I'm recording a video from the Cultural Center as I did last time. I have been looking through videos of the Bus Invaders, the famous Bus Invaders YouTube program, trademarked by the way, about tour life of their professional rock musicians. First of all, pardon me if I don't look really too neat and all, but it is, let's put it that way, it's winter time, it's starting to freeze outside, bitingly cold and wet on top of that. I'm still roofless, should have had my own employment benefits if they would be really careful for me, but it ain't, so I'm waiting until tomorrow, hoping we'll get our employment benefit. So, seeing the Bus Invader program, I'm looking forward to see everyone. Whenever I can meet them, I know I have to be grateful because for any whatever reason, and this is, I will not elaborate on that, but numbers of my professional VIP rock vocalists have been in my company, or to put it more aptly, I have had the honor of being in their company, them in between concerting, producing, touring, hopping by, just like that, without pre-advising me, without me knowing me in advance, to see how I am doing. Well, not well, clearly, as the state, the government and the crown did not indemnize anything of the judicial files I have handed in, and I have to be now under the International Human Rights Court of Den Hague for my protection also against ultra-nationalists, Belgian police and state security entities and such. Anyhow, I have been producing another music video on my YouTube channel. I have had the honor of getting a second release of claimed copyright from a cover I did of A Day to Remember called Since You've Been Gone. I got a license of that now, very happy. It's the second license of A Day to Remember, American rock band I hold now. I got 2 licenses of Blackfield Brides for Resurrect the Sun and Carolyn cover. I have a license for Life Unbearable from Crom German metal band. I have a license for Monument, also A Day to Remember. I got a license for Breath of Breaking Benjamin, alternative metal band, US band. So actually on that hindsight I'm happy. Not that the productions are up to, how should I put it, up to precisely perfect. They're not perfect fit. Some of them are on the round, but they are ready for, production on iTunes, Amazon, whenever we are ready. Anyhow, to return to the issue of the rock vocalist colleagues and the distance which signifies us, me for an unsigned artist, them for professional rock VIP staging vocalists and instrumentalists who don't have time, not even for their own family, but who did take time in a number of cases to come on by and to see me how I am unable to do more than that. I would like to state it in the words of A Day to Remember album, What Separates Us. The term when, and I hope by the eons and by all what is above and below, and thus has the aptitude for positive induction, thus has preserved aptitude for positive induction and constructive professional building, which is no-go for Belgium. There's nothing possible than alienated from my person on the professional level, alienated versus all royal powers or state security entity, deviated stuff. I have been thinking, I see it that way. Rock profession is a vocation, which will remain. It's one of the reasons I also wear my hair long, for instance, although I can have it half long also, and definitely not any whatever time going to Remonasticisin is definitely up and against the will of the declared will of the interconfessional churches. So that is never the case. So when I have been seeing bus invaders the last few days, I was very happy to see a number of my professional colleagues, how they are doing. And as soon as possible, and that is my firm belief, we will see each other. And I'm calling this term, in which we will see each other again, the term of the great relief. I think it will be a great relief for us all. Not only for black-veiled brides who were with me from the beginning, from 2013-14. I have known Andy Romani and Ash and Jinx and such. 2016, Ashley passed by in the social living district in Ghent. Not all too long ago, Reynolds from Intensified passed by at the railway station, out by on the 70 years bar, now closed, alas, when I was there. He had a real lionish hair, beautiful, at that point of time. But we don't get to talk to each other. We don't have the possibility, we don't have the option at that time stating towards each other. I think we have a number of essentials to bring relief with versus each other. Things come undone, things we were not able to explain to each other. Anyhow, across the barrier reefs of the Western regimes, across the frontiers of war, whatever an issue divides us, separates us, I firmly believe we will be okay, and at the time when we will do see each other again in a band formation context with the band managers line, we will be able to privately nail everything down, put aside any other third-party actor, for starters, putting aside any whatever third-party actor. I know, I very much do realize that I'm 55 now. I still think I can look very good for a 55-year rock vocalist. I have still my very high classifications, almost also for classical music industry. The major problem is I do need a restoration by the dilapidation the regime oppressed me in. Regime, family, a number of actors, Van Haverbeke, who presumed and faked rock live professional management, which he could have never have been, but the bands could not overcome him and could not beyond him get to me, not neither across through him. So that made things impossible, virtually impossible. I think for one we must be happy for me to have the chance to go on working on what I have already produced, re-editing, working on stuff, etc. Secondly, I think the awareness must be there that one, I am still an unsigned, not wannabe, but to be staging artist. This is my profession, this is my vocation for classical music industry and rock music industry. The blocks of the Western European ideological regime and front do not change that, but it does dilapidate it. So, I want to make one thing very, very clear. As I stated before, I'm a utilitarian. So, looking at it from the utilitarian point of view, I see only one option fit. We will have to address the matter within exclusive and closed professional VIP musicians stage scene, so they can give their professional opinion and possibilities up for. But my opinion is one. What is done is done. We cannot change the former years' situation, whatever. Wanting to save what is now, I see only one option. Can I stage still in this phase? I can. Do I have the qualifications? I have. Do I have the vocal skills? Everyone knows. Everyone heard my YouTube vids from the rock professional vocalists. They know I can. I need a restoration phase, which I see as another manner of ingressing stage scene. Maybe for a featuring artist, changing from band to band and singing along band to band, to get involved, to get used to each other on the platform, on the staging platform, and I think on the long-term span, a lot of things still can be very profitably for all of us. If only, and that is emphatically, if only things are done temporizingly. I think there is no sense whatever at all with the physical deterioration the regime brought upon me for any whatever reason, disobliging themselves in their own country from, maybe millions of dollars of taxes. They could have won. What now is foremost important, I think, is that we temporizingly would be able to ingress the states so as to deploy activity, professional activity, experiencing us on the stage scene level, and making come true vocation. Whatever the issue has been between us, for instance between me and Blackfield Rides, between me and other bands, I think now is the time to put into practice 6 years of die-hard labor, die-hard study for professional life. If not so, what is the sense of that hard labor done so intrinsically? My age versus their age, I don't think that makes any difference. It first goes on to professionality. So I do firmly believe in this term, which I will call the term of grand relief. We can clear things out together without third parties, with the relevant band managers, and talk about what is essential to our relation. As I stated, first of all, in my hindsight, utilitarianism. If the US rock industry and bands and labels are able to see me fit for stage scene as such, aside the deterioration pressed upon me by the state, despite the debts and guilt of the Belgian state crown, government, police not paid back to me, which could be enforced by the rock industry, professional levels from side of the International Rock League, for instance. These assets could be won back simply after my coming into the professional rock stage scene. I have been stated Peter needs at least $6,000 to come over for starters. He doesn't have any $6,000. No one is going to give him. So, there's no sense. And then you have the band equipment, you have all practical problems. He doesn't have a studio, such and so, But I believe taking me in with on the ground with the capacities I have is sufficient for rock vocalist industry to retrieve the heavy debts of the Belgian state, crown, government, kingdom, etc. Which help me restabilize in US territory or anywhere else, so I can make profit for us all, profit and experience. So that is actually how I see it. My point of stance as of now is one. Please do insert me in both rock and classical life industry. One. Secondly, spread out my preferably featuring venues, so there is an easygoing way but evenly ongoing way of inserting me in the continuous schedules of rock industry and classical music industry life. Only with that difference that everyone sees, they cannot accept. Well, they can expect from me the same which they can expect from Tomoya, the drummer of One OK Rock. They can expect from me the same as from Benjamin Burnsley from Breaking Benjamin, or from Andy Romani. You know, they are entitled to expect the same. But to exert the same is an entirely different thing. So for all parties involved to have a major revenues, major incomes, major profits, major credits, I think a long-term spread of a more featuring instanced artists would be preferable, would be preferential to me, and I think to everyone who is utilitarian on that point. I have suffered a lot in life, even if I say this myself. I have had a very, very hard, die-hard life, which has been weighing on all my physicality, as everyone of the rock industry knows very well. You know very well how where my physicality is at. So I think they will do oblige at that hindsight. One, my utilitarian stance, and secondly, my emphasis that I am able to deliver long-time revenues sufficiently apt for inserting me in professional rock and classical music life and vocation. That implies a perfect, not schizophrenic, but also utilitarian separation of the other layers of my life. I think is logical for everyone. I hope with this short video, which I pre-recorded here in the Vooruit in Ghent, which is the cultural center, I hope that colleague rock vocalists understand I want to go on with music life, but at the same time I want to emphasize that I do have the right, maybe that's I might, but I do have the right to exert certain demands on my professional life. That is the deployment of all my professional, but foremost on my personal credits, my personal intrinsical credits, which depart from my personal status, from my background, from whom I am, from my International Human Rights Court dehumanized, decategorized status. I am thoroughly convinced we can work on that alongside the other, with that narrow line which does not need to be transgressed, and on which I not only expect but trust the maturity of our colleague rock vocalists, musicians and managements all over the US, all over Japan, as they very much well are aware of the problems I have been facing. So I have emphasized, and I restate that I have the right to have a higher degree of enjoyment of my life from now on, since all I had to go through in my life. In that hindsight, things must emphatically change. In that hindsight, in the West, people are not intelligent enough to differentiate according to what people are. The populist sphere is reigning here, and reigning here by a very hard, up to sadist street populism, very much so destructively aligned to the regime. They don't have the insight of differentiation, ensuring that not everyone is equal, and that people have to be treated aptly, separately, according to the situation at hand. They don't accept that, for me, normal way of democratical judgment. If for the good of all, I want to stay alive very, very much longer, so for the good of us all, for the profit of us all in rock industry, in classical music industry, for the add-on, the professional and vocational add-on for my colleagues, I think it is high time to insert me in rock industry. Remonasticisin is impossible. Interconfessionalism, that is, all international Christian and Christian-aligned churches in agreement, are all in accord that the official church papers from both the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church aligned declare from the Holy Spirit for all Christianity and aligned that the remonasticisin is impossible and is impossibly contradicting and warring against the explicit will of the Holy Spirit in this world for my place in this life. So the whole remonasticisin bullshit, which has been going on from my family on and from other persons on, stems from a vain, idle and idolatric, megalomaniac opposition against the decreed will of God through the Holy Spirit in the official papers of the churches implied. In Belgium there's something which is called the constitutional spiritual powers. So all decrees and official declarations from Belgian Belgian government funded Christian churches interconfessionalism are also, I have to emphasize this, state spiritual constitutional power decrees aligned. So this is not only about the Holy Spirit conducting the will of God in the world for my place in this life, it is also the explicit explicit degree and alignment to the worldly, spiritual, constitutional power. So people who are keeping on stubbornly, schizophrenically, fanatically, trying to dump me in any whatever, also pagan form of monastic life or remonasticisin, under any whatever guise or disguise, must now in finality understand that they are warring up against the two most dangerous powers existing: the explicit decreed will of God through the Holy Spirit in the decrees of the Holy Roman Catholic and Russian Pan-Orthodox Church, in interconfessionalism, and against the constitutional spiritual power of the Belgian state, institutionalized. So they are in a war which is not possible, which is not acceptable to any whatever professional rock industry or classical industry, hindsight and professional stance, whatever it may be. So, and that we all must emphatically align. There is not another possible option. Final end of the discussion on that hindsight. Having stated this, I wish everyone a nice Sunday for the hours to come. And I do still am awaiting my colleagues and band managements, labels, to wisely offer me a contract, a touring contract, or any whatever other possible option or offer, explicitating me to exercise my profession, my vocation, on a spread out basis, with featuring artists, position for starters. All the rest we can talk about later. That is my profound conviction on the matter, and thereby also making sure to the whole world that we, for a professional rock and classical music industry, will not oblige any whatever further the schizophrenic, de-intensifying policy and stances and actual practice taken by the Belgian regime and any whatever actors in monopolist lobbies like brewery mass lobby, like the Freemasonry lobby, like my family's lobby, or any what else, whatever a lobby behind it. That we will not, for rock and classical music industry, accept that these alienating entities on the international, the professional and the personal level will go on alienating the explicit will of the entire Christianity, recognizing the will of God through His Holy Spirit, and the official paganism align all the same. Not neither as the opposition to the constitutional spiritual power of all the nations implied. It was made very clear that when a sound, democratic and real solution is offered, it will be offered maturely by the conglomerate of the rock and classical music industry life as such. I think there is an important role for ours to play. I ask your urgent support in life substances, in necessary basic essentials for my person to revolve to a normal state of professionality, so as to be apt for joining a professional rock life, and at least for me starting to rehumanize, recategorialize, also on the sexual level, and making sure a matured and insured profit and credit level can be obtained. I wish everyone a very nice Sunday from the Whorldwide Cultural Center in Ghent, Belgium, European Union. See you soon. Thank you for your attention, and have a good night. Bye bye.